Well, what's up, Cornhole fans? Welcome to another episode of Around the ACL. It is not Michelle Thompson. She is. You have way uglier people on the show today.
Unfortunately for
you. Delivering all of your cornhole action, news, insight, analysis, all of that. It is Trey Ryder, Anthony Ione, and Bernie Neighbors. Welcome back to the show, Bernie.
Yes. Yeah. Every time. You know what? Every time the lead-in music comes on, I'm ready to go, man. I want to hit somebody. Our music is so old and so tired on borderline, man. We've got to get some new music because I'm ready. I'm ready when I hear that every time.
We'll get there eventually. Like ours has been the same since we started. Apparently, ours is just much more like in your face. I don't even think anything of it. I'm so used to it. But every time you come on, every time Jeff comes on,
man.
Like, I'm ready to go.
Let's go. let's make some magic happen. Let's do this.
All right, Bernie. Weekends. Good weekend. Any you had some cornhole in your weekend?
I did. I went down, helped out Johnsonville. They had a little event, charity cornhole challenge in Columbia for the University of South Carolina, Florida football game. Dawn Staley and one of her players, Zaya Cook, who was on one of her national championship teams, who's now with the LA Sparks and the WNBA, took on the Freak, Javon Curse and Titus O'Neil in a charity match, best 2 out of 3. It was a lot of fun, man. Got to sit there and MC that and, do my thing, act like an idiot for a couple hours. It was a lot of fun. The Gore boys were there. Angel Camarena was there helping out. So they gave some instruction. They actually did so well, I thought, the boys, that some of the members of the University of South Carolina women's team were there to watch their coach. And so when it was over, they all wanted to throw with Jake. The little man was getting all the love from the ladies.
Did Staley have the best skills out of all the celebs?
Yes. She had, the best looking bag. Oddly enough, Titus O'Neil, not a great looking bag from, our perspective. It wasn't a flat bag, but when he had to hit a shot, man, he hit shots. It was pretty crazy. And those guys are so big, dude. They are so big. Javon Curse has stayed in shape. That is a big man. And Titus, I guess he's a wrestler now, the WWE, just titanic human beings, man. But they were super nice guys. So I don't know if we throw it to Marlon, Superhole. Those guys were great. They were really, really good. Loved it. They put on a show. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I love to see it. Got some good. Bernie got 2 thumbs up from Johnsonville. So claps for Bernie here.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Anthony, you were in a tuxedo. You were going somewhere fancy.
Yeah, did a wedding, which you got coming up as well. Maybe it's that time of year, these fall weddings and stuff. But yeah, just did a wedding. I'm not a dress up kind of guy. I don't have any suits. I don't have anything really, dressy besides some like jeans and some Jordans. So getting into a bow tie was really weird.
Anthony, every young man should have at least one blazer and one suit, Anthony.
I do have a lot of blazers because of the, all of the ESPN broadcasts, but no bottoms to match.
I love it. Well, I was in New Orleans for a bachelor party. And
yes.
Anybody that's ever been to New Orleans, you go, well, that was fun.
Out of my league, man.
Yeah, it's Bourbon Street is an incredible place, and I'll just leave it at that. And incredible can mean a lot of different things.
Nobody got arrested?
Nobody got arrested. It was like
Mugged?
we were all right. I will say my favorite part of the weekend, I spent 10 hours in the same chair at the sports book watching college football.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The best days at a bachelor party I've ever had.
That is
awesome. What it's like? You get the boys together. Everybody's on the same parlay. You're there for 10 hours. You literally cannot beat it.
That's so good.
So
was that before or after dodging gunshots?
After.
Okay.
Damn. Hey, look, Airbnb, this is a PSA, never stayed in Airbnb. This is
wow. Wow.
Yeah. Come at me, Airbnb. I'm putting this on my podcast. Oh, all right. Here we go. So let's roll into it. We have our second ACL Open event of the season, Des Moines, Iowa. It's not ACL Open number 4.
Yeah, it's number 4 already.
I'm in shambles right now apparently because I'm running the show and Michelle's gone. So sorry guys, but it's ACL Open number 2, the second of the year. We will be in Des Moines. Women's, juniors, seniors, blind draw, and teams all happening Friday. We'll have doubles on Saturday as normal and singles on Sunday as normal. So we're getting into it. Season's starting to roll a little bit here. Our second Open of the month. Anthony, I'll start with you. Who we watching to start off here? Maybe in some singles action this weekend in Des Moines.
Yeah, maybe to start, it's not who we see in the field, but maybe who we don't see. That always kind of tells a good story as well, because then you have the opportunity for a lot of people to step up, and we're missing a lot of our top guys. No Tony Smith, no Mark Richards, no Jamie Graham, no Alex and Alan Rawls, who are both top players now in this game. Caleb Batson, Devin Harbaugh, Fisher Hamilton. A lot of your top 10s all the way to top 12, 13 coming off of last season, not in the field. So I just want to kind of say there's an opportunity for these players who were always just outside of broadcast or just outside of, championship matches, an opportunity to step up. In doubles, I think there's a couple go-tos, some teams that we think are going to do really well next season. We're going to get another look at these, and this one's going to be a first look. We've got Jordan Power and Joe Neested. We had Jordan Power and Jeremy Schermerhorn at Open number 1. Now we're going to get our first look at what could be a power couple coming into 2024. Certainly one of the best teams on Team Titan. So we're going to have both of those guys in the field. Teams that have already proven success, who we would probably expect to win this thing if we talk about favorites. We've got a Justin Burton Jr. and a Logan Chamberlain in the field. Logan Chamberlain, been watching him on some live feeds recently. He continues to get better. I think this kid's actually going to come in and be even better next year. Who was just outside of top 10, Logan Chamberlain, maybe showing up on top 10 lists coming into the new season. We're going to get our first look at, I guess it would be our second look, Matt Guy and Brett Guy. Another team that we expect to be strong this year. Are they going to be better than a Matt Guy and a Jamie Graham? I think that's to be determined. Skills-wise, they wouldn't be better, but do they work better together? There's a lot of history there with those two guys. Does that long-term history, going back to when we first put this game on national TV, we had a Matt Guy and a Brett Guy, but when they came into the league as rookies, just the way the bag sponsorships worked out, the way that the partnerships work out, they didn't come into the league in their rookie year as a doubles team, but here they are kind of coming back. It's like the band is back together kind of thing. How good are Matt Guy and Brett Guy going to be this season? Another new partnership that we're interested in seeing, Philip Lopez and Steve Bernasette. I think two players that are looking to make names for themselves in doubles as well as singles. We had Bernasette, who kind of slipped in there, won a national. We thought he was going to be the next greatest thing. He just wasn't able to keep that consistency going, but we know he has the ability to win nationals. And then Philip Lopez with a ton of experience in doubles, in nationals, at the top of the game, but still a really, really good singles player. And I think they play pretty similar games. They're not going to be these roll guys and, fancy cuts and doing all these things. They're down the middle. They have really good airmails. And then they have the ability to clean up. So maybe Philip Lopez going to a faster model bag. I know Steven Bernasette's going to want the fastest possible bag in his hand as possible. I remember one Open, he was throwing the slick side of a 10-speed. So it's like, how do you slow that thing down? Maybe that plays better into a Philip Lopez game because we know he has that kind of front-loaded bag, and I think a fast bag is going to keep it from cutting, and it's going to be easier to push through. Ryan Smith, Ryan Wiedenfeld, we expect to do well. The new partnership in Ryan Trader and Alex Hicks. We saw them make a really, really good at Open number 1. I'm just excited altogether to see these guys play. Two of the youngsters and might be the youngest team in the league collectively when you put the ages together. And then the new partnership in Ryan Windsor and Matthew Creekkiller. Individually, they did really, really well. Obviously, Windsor coming off of Hicks. Matthew Creekkiller and Hicks, I believe, finished the season identically last year, right around that same rank. So how does a Ryan Windsor and a Matthew Creekkiller come into the new season. Really excited to see what they do. And I believe this will be our first look at those guys. Kind of moving to some I don't know, just some, what do we get from these players? Brady Foster and Jimmy Humans. I know what I'm going to get out of a Jimmy Humans. Jimmy Humans, very consistent. I don't expect him to be doing anything new coming into the 2024 season, but Brady Foster, I'm really excited to see what he does with the Jimmy Humans as a partner and in singles. I think possibly, one of these youngsters that could come in and surprise us all. He's got all the shots. He's a kid that has all the shots. Alec Ryan and Ethan Walker. I know what I'm going to get from Alec Ryan. Really want to see this guy succeed more. We saw him kind of come into the beginning of last season. Thought he was going to be the next greatest thing. Talking about Rookie of the Year candidate, just kind of slipped off a little bit. Still a great player, but now alongside an Ethan Walker. So when we start talking about breakout players, if we look at a Tony Smith that went from number 49 to best in the MVP, Ethan Walker sitting right around 49, 47, somewhere in there. I think he could be the next Tony Smith, a guy that goes from that, high 40, 50 spot and trend deep into a top 10. I think Ethan Walker could be one of those guys. How about Jeremy Frazier and Ian Cripps, a non-dedicated pro partnership team, both trending up. Jeremy Frazier having a really good run with Cheyenne in doubles. I think Jeremy Frazier might be another one of those breakout players that surprises all. Maybe not the breakout player, but he could be a player in that mix, like a 4 or a 5. Man, so much to talk about. I'm excited to see what a Zach Shibner can do with a Hunter Thorne as a partner. Zach Shibner, if you remember from last season, didn't really expect anything from him. That was pretty vocal about that in the draft, but did pretty well as a coming into as a rookie. He didn't blow into any top 20 spots or 30 spots, but he's still kind of comfortably around an auto qualifying pro. Did pretty good now next to a Hunter Thorne. Can he bring his best game? We know what Hunter Thorne's going to give us, and then collectively, maybe we see them in a bracket final. I think they could be pretty tough. And Ernest Cisneros, if I'm kind of going down the list of players I'm looking at, I'm just curious. What are we going to get out of this guy? He came across my table at the showcase, the rookie showcase. So now I can kind of see what kind of game he has. I think he can bring something, playing with a Ricky Gonzalez who does pretty well in doubles. He's a doubles guy. So I don't expect these guys to, make any bracket finals or even bottom 3 or 4, but can they give a really good team a run for their money? Maybe a 21-17 loss or a 20-18 loss and make it interesting. So just something I'm looking out for. What do you think, Bernie?
What you said.
Real quick. Bernie, I want to get your take. Ethan Walker has the potential to be the next Tony Smith. Quote from Anthony Ione. Thoughts on that first and foremost?
I think I like what he's saying from a arm talent, bag talent perspective. I don't know if his decision-making puts him in that category yet. I think he's obviously a highly talented kid. I don't know if he has the ability yet. He may have the ability to throw at the level that he can throw for an entire tournament. I think his top level, his ceiling is extraordinary. I think there are some valleys that he has to watch out for, and his decision-making can lead to some of those valleys. So if he can correct that, maybe I think that's a little high of a reach, but interesting. Look, can we talk about Alan Rawls real quick? If we can just go back in time, the dude, right? I mean, how he continues. Look, you want to talk bag talent, you want to talk arm talent. I don't think he's that guy, right? I think
right.
if you lined up 20 ACL pros and you watch them all throw bags, I don't think you'd pick his throw out of that 20 as the guy that continues to win, the guy that continues to put deep runs in nationals, obviously winning the Open, a loaded Open #1. But man, he continues to do it. So kudos to Alan Rawls. I felt like I had to send a shout his way. And then before we get back to anything else, Matt Guy. I think another year, I think I was saying this last year this time, a man that has something to prove. Matt Guy saying, I'm not dead yet, fellas. I'm still here.
All right, let me get – you like this analogy? Greg Maddux for Alan Rawls?
Maybe, but man, did you ever watch Greg Maddux pitch? I mean, maybe. Maybe. I mean, he wasn't going to overpower you. No, I'm with you. He
saying.
wasn't going to overpower you as a pitcher, but his stuff was nasty. I don't know if I would classify Allen's stuff as nasty, but I like where your head's at though.
Okay, so like if you go the other direction, then is he like? This is getting really aggressive here. I'm not ready to say like the same level of consistency, or would you view it more as like a Mariano Rivera? You got 2 pitches.
Yeah, here it comes. Like, this is what you get.
I mean, I'm literally, hey, I'm throwing this. Like, get ready.
Try and hit it. This is all you're going to see. Try to hit it.
Yeah. So okay, so I was kind of going more for he's not going to blow you away with the fastball. But I get your side of it where it was like he also was. I mean, every other pitch that he had, he was crafting. Right. I mean, he was putting on a masterpiece, but he's that, maybe he's just that 2-pitch pitcher. It's just like, hey, I'm just going to literally throw this.
It works.
I wonder, like, I can't do the stat. I wonder if we could find out like what do his opponents throw against him? Right. I mean, and I guess we have DPR, but it's hard to do. But I mean, I would love to see. I wonder if Alan Rawls is the beneficiary sometimes of not getting everyone's best game, and he gets it in a row, and then all he has to throw really are 2 great games. Does that make any sense to you guys? Because I think it's his play style that kind of leans to that. It's almost like a player that wants to make the game ugly. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want it to be pretty. And then all of a sudden you look up and he's in a bracket final. All of a sudden he's in an open final. All of a sudden he's won the scene. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, we got more to talk about Alan Rawls later. A little foreshadowing for later in the show. So we'll talk about that. Bernie, any other players or teams or anybody that you got your eye on? Anybody you want to reiterate?
I mean, Logan and Justin starting out strong again. Came out of the blocks hot last season. Win open number 1 in doubles. I mean, it's tough to say if I'm looking for anyone outside of what Anthony said, because I think he kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think when you look at the guy pairing, I agree with Anthony. If you're looking at talent for talent, it's not the same as Guy and Graham, but the comfortability, the way that those 2 guys, I think when you have players of that talent that have, I mean, it's not just a chip. I think it's a boulder on their shoulder they want to prove this season. I think that speaks volumes to what they want to do and the kind of impetus they have to have a good season. I like the Bernasette, Philip Lopez Jr. comments. I really do. I think Philip Lopez Jr. is another player that is going to have a huge chip on his shoulder with something to prove that it wasn't all Mark Richards all the time, and getting a player like Steven Bernasette, who what you're going to get with Steven, right? You know exactly what you're going to get. So I'm interested to see how Philip handles the transition into that partnership this season. So I mean, obviously it's only open number 2, and I think Anthony also hit the nail on the head. It's not as loaded as open number 1. So here's a chance, right? If you're some of these other guys, who's Jeremy Frazier playing with? Ian Cripps?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Right. So you don't have to roll through 5 teams,
right,
to win a tournament like this. You only need to beat 1 or 2 probably of the elite level teams to get to the finals. So I think that's a team to keep an eye on. I really like them as a pairing. So here's your chance. Here's your chance. If you're some of the middle of the road ACL pros, you're not going to have to win 5-6 games against elite level talent. Here's a chance. Here's a chance to really put some points on the board in the open season.
Yeah. Only one more I'll add. Well, you already briefly mentioned it, Anthony, but Joe Neestet and Jordan Power, I have a high level of expectation for. Jordan Power just played really well with Jeremy Schermerhorn. Joe Neestet played really well with Jeremy Schermerhorn last year. Jordan Power, shootout champion. Joe Neestet, top 10 player. To me, anything less than top 5 for this team coming into this open is a disappointment for me. I mean, if there's 4 brackets, they need to win a bracket. That's just my personal opinion of what my expectation level is on those guys. So we'll get into that. All right, let's jump into some news around the league. We'll start with the latest trade that just came through this morning. We'll get your reactions on this. The Carolina Coasters are trading away Daniela Luna to the Kentucky Colonels in exchange for Lori Dool. The Coasters took up Miranda Coy in the draft, and I think there was a lot of surprise when they didn't take Lori Dool as well, but they actually go and trade for her. So Coy and Dool reunited on the Coasters. They're back on the Coasters for the second straight season, and Danielle Luna is off to the Colonels. Any reaction from there, Bernie, on that trade from the Colonels and Coasters?
I feel like that trade comes down to one shot, and I can't remember what matchup it was with the Coasters, where Miranda Coy and Lori Dool were playing in a match, and it was a very important match in one of their team matchups. And was it Miranda that hit just a massive shot to win that game? And it's almost as if that shot is the reason that trade was made, right? Because they now know. Yeah, they know that the Coasters, group knows that these girls, when put under that pressure, can perform. So, I mean, I think that almost that one bag led to this trade.
Yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, this is super, super close. I think you got to give the nod to Lori Dool. She did win a shootout qualifier last year, slightly ranked higher. I mean, you're talking about two players that are outside of 200, but I think the difference in this is that you're sending Lori Dool to her partner, Miranda Coy, and then that makes a natural partnership. So I think it kind of does give the edge to the Coasters. And they're a team that, hey, if the Coasters are looking at them and saying, hey, we need you to win this match, our 14, 15, 13, 14 number in our roster, we need you to beat their 13, 14. Or they could get hot and actually beat like a 4-5 or a 6-7 and pull out a big win for their team. So I think the nod goes to the Coasters because of that match, because of that partnership.
All right, looking at some conference results from around the weekend. Both the Southeast Conference and the Midwest Conference had conference events going on. So in the Southeast Conference, here he is again. Alan Rawls wins singles at the Southeast Conference. We had Fisher Hamilton. We had Cheyenne Bubenheim, Blaine Rozier, Ethan Walker recently just moved there. I mean, it's an absolutely outrageous loaded conference. So Alan Rawls wins it there. In doubles, Ethan Walker moves to Florida. He's in the Southeast Conference now. He pairs with Fisher Hamilton. That almost seems unfair. Ethan Walker and Fisher Hamilton get the win there in doubles. Then over into the Midwest Conference. And Alex Hicks has dominated the Midwest Conference for a number of years. He's won so many of them, but it was a different under-18 player that wins it this time. And we did have a sweep. Ryan Trader wins singles and doubles. In doubles, he wins alongside Matthew Troxel. So, Bernie, any thoughts and reactions from the Southeast or Midwest Conference event results?
Sure. Alan Rawls, I would say winning a Southeast Conference event is like taking down some of the lesser opens. If you think about it, you're going to have some opens that just aren't that deep, and winning the Southeast Conference with as loaded as that conference is, that's essentially the same as winning in one of those opens. So Alan Rawls doing what he did. Ryan Trader getting to the Midwest. I think Ryan Trader's that dude.
I think he's that
I think he's got a mental fortitude that might put him. Is he the best U18 in the Midwest Conference? He won that event, but I think going forward, is he? I know Anthony's a huge Alex Hicks fan, so am I, but Ryan Trader just has a different feel about him, I don't want to say aura, that sounds kind of cheesy, but there's just something about the way he carries himself that I think he loves being in the fray, if that makes any sense.
He's certainly more of an emotional player, which can be than Hicks is. Hicks is very reserved, and Trader's a little bit more outward with his intensity. A little bit. I'm not saying he's over the top, but I think that can help. It can hurt a little bit, but it can help. It'd be interesting to see how he wears that badge. He played really, really well. Won his bracket at this first Open, so maybe no reason he can't do it again. Anthony, any thoughts on Southeast Midwest?
Yeah, first thought is let's compare those two conferences. Midwest, winning a Midwest versus Southeast. Hey, Ryan Trader, okay, congratulations. Pat on the back, but Alan Rawls taking a win out of the Southeast. You guys already discussed how tough that is. So definitely much more. That I was going to say much more huge. That does not make sense, but much huger, much more of a big deal. Much more huge. Huge. Dude, yeah, that Southeast Conference is packed. But while you guys were talking, I just pulled this up for fun, because I was like, well, then who did Ryan Trader have to go through? And it actually reminded me, because I watched some matches this weekend as they popped up. Many people might not know that Ryan Trader has a brother, Mason Trader. Mason Trader is no joke. He might not be a pro right now, but he is pro caliber. He takes Ryan Trader down to take the king seat. So Mason Trader sitting in the king seat, but it's the brother that comes up and get him. And I was just like, where did Alex Hicks? Who else was in the field? Ryan Trader did get Alex Hicks in the winner's side, 29-2. And then Hicks fell down. He made a little bit run and then ran into Crabtree, who got him 22-20. So that's where Alex Hicks finished off. But yeah, I just wanted to make the point. You got Trip Breaker going deep, but it's Mason Trader, his brother, who's an extremely talented player as well. Not currently a pro, but watch out for that kid maybe in the future.
Yeah, watch out for him in the future, certainly. All right, let's start talking about some team stuff, okay? So teams. We're going to go through, and over the next few weeks, we're going to go through all of the different regions. And Anthony and I have put together our grades, right? And I don't know how you want to take it. I'll let you explain how you approached your methodology, but I wanted to give these roster grades instead of necessarily draft grades, because in a sense, the captains got to draft their roster from their previous year. And then in addition to that, got to draft some people. So in certain instances, personally, I won't speak for you, Anthony, I brought some people a little bit higher grade because of who they brought back, right? So I added that as well, but I'll let Anthony qualify that. And then Bernie, once you hear both of ours, I want to hear your thoughts on agree, disagree.
Just say something, will you? Just say something up there in the corner.
Well, I mean, you're last minute. I didn't. Do you have draft grades?
No, I do not. No, I do not. I mean, I kind of, but not really. No,
all right, well,
this is all you guys. This is all you guys. I just had to throw my little 2 cents in right there.
All right, so let's start with the Virginia Cutters. And for the sake of the conversation, let's just first go through who is on that roster to begin with, and then Anthony will jump over to you. So the Virginia Cutters, Captain Justin Stranger, they keep Logan Chamberlain, Leston Allen, Dakota Salee, and Michael Dingus. Now, they had another one that they traded away in Ryan Wienfeld. In return, and then in they draft, they go Jacob Gore, Sammy Soto, Felix Vargas, Jonathan Etheridge, Travis Graven, Josh Glover, Lexi Hugeback, Matt Raymond, Nate Gallup, Desiree McCoy. Anthony, thoughts and grades on the Virginia Cutters?
Yeah, so I did it as a whole as well, not necessarily draft grades, but just looking at the roster as they are right now. That's kind of what I base my grade on. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Just worth noting, the Cutters are the youngest team in the league with an average age of 27. Is that good? I think so. If you look at the top 14 finishers from last season, not one player was over 30. This will blow your mind a little bit. The average age of the top 14 players in the league last year was 22.
Wow.
Mark Richards and Alan Rawls were the oldest players. Yeah. They were 26 at the time the season ended. That's pretty insane. So the youngest team. They're the heaviest American South invested in rookies. So they have 5 rookies. If you look at the other American Souths, Sliders have 0, Freeze have 1, Coasters have 1. They have 5. So let's look at those rookies. They pulled a Sammy Soto. He was number 2 in the showcase. We know what he's capable of doing. He's a Texas breed. He's playing with players like Chamberlain, Burton Jr., Cano, these kind of guys consistently, and he knows how to win with experience on broadcast. Big pickup for them. Jonathan Etheridge, another rookie coming out. He was 5th in the showcase. He came out of the pro qualifier and putting a lot of weight in this guy. He's performing in showcases, and he's coming out of qualifiers. 2 big check marks, if you will. Matt Raymond, you mentioned. This guy's a grinder. He's gonna put a lot of rounds in. He's gonna play a lot. He might not be the best talent, but he is out there putting the work in. He actually has the most rounds played on that team, period. And then Nate Gallup came out of the qualifier. So just kind of looking at some of those rookies, I think a pretty strong rookie group coming into that team. If we look at the 10 pros that they have a Gore and a Chamberlain. Not very many teams can say they have 2 top 16 players on their team. They are one of those teams that could do that. Those 2 guys are going to be the muscle, I think, carrying that team. But if we look collectively at the pros, it's not as strong. We're looking, if we average the entire pros, all the pros on that team, and we averaged their singles finishes last season. They're in the bottom 25% of all the teams on average. So I'm looking at the rookies are pretty strong compared to the rest of the teams. The pros on that team, not as strong. So you have 2 players carrying most of the weight. I went with a grade of a B- for that one.
Anthony, you and I have the exact same grade. I went B-
we do
as well. But for me, I was also looking at improvement. I think this was a D+, C- team by the end of last season. One that didn't perform well. They were able to completely flip their roster in a positive way. And I kind of like what they did. For them to go all the way up to a B-, I saw improvement. The trade, the Ryan Wiedenfeld trade, where they send Ryan Wiedenfeld and a 3rd-round pick to the Cutters in order for that 2nd-round pick. At first, I didn't like it. I'm starting to warm up to it a little bit because I got a Sammy Soto, right, in return for it. Do I feel like Sammy Soto is going to be the better than Ryan Wiedenfeld and a 3rd-round pick? The answer is it's going to be close, but at the same time, I've added top-level talent, which is what I think they were missing last year. The Cutters put a really good job of putting a team together last year. They were missing bottom-level depth, which is what hurt them. They were able to put it together, a team that was deep, but they didn't have that top-level talent at the very top in order to carry the team that they really, really needed because Wiedenfeld didn't play as well last year as we thought he would. I ultimately go with a B-. I didn't like Vargas. I thought it was too early. They go with Vargas in their 2nd-round pick. I thought there were better players available. I did like Josh Glover late, though, so I'm giving them a B-. Any thoughts on the Cutters, Bernie?
You know, it was one of those teams where I felt like they seemed so interested early. The trades, it seemed like they were so invested over at their table early on in the draft. I mean, you mentioned Josh Glover late, but I feel like I feel like they kind of let the draft get away from them late. And so they ended up I felt like, oh man, look at this. The Cutters are making moves. They're doing it looks like they're trying to completely put it on their head like what last season was. And it's almost as if it kind of got away from them as the draft went on. And you guys with a B-, I can't argue that. I think when you look at the depth of this team, I wouldn't say it's as deep as you'd want. I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to be competitive, in some matches with their top level talent. But I think when we get deep, I think they're going to struggle. So, I think B- is pretty accurate from you guys.
On to the Carolina Coasters. Anthony, thoughts on the Coasters? Oh, let me go through their team really quick. So the Coasters, they bring back Jamie Graham, Trevor Brooks, Eric Davis, and Berkeley Pear and Chad Hunt. They trade away Derek King and get Frank Maudlin as well. And then we just talked about the trade for Laurie Dool. So they have Chad Hunt, Frank Maudlin, Tommy Sliker, Austin Slowbaum, Ben Brown, Cameron Holland, James Baldwin, Caleb Avery, Miranda Coy, Allison Springer, formerly Peters, and then Laurie Dool. Anthony, thoughts on the Coasters?
I'm going to talk kind of fast because I know we got a lot to get through. Carolina Coasters, they are stacked with experience, right? They got legends like Graham, Maudlin, Baldwin, Brooks. But does that matter? Let me remind you the stat before that the top 14 players were the average of 22 age. Not a whole lot of legends in that. So I don't think that matters as much. Strong regionality. You got 12 of the 15 players out of Virginia and the Carolinas. The only 3 players not in that little cluster of region. You got Miranda Coy and Laurie Dool out of Florida, Ben Brown out of Kentucky. But I like the national partnerships. They've got a Graham Maudlin who are committed pro partners. They've got a Brooks pair who have a long history of success as partners. And they got a Coy Dool committed pro partners. And I think there's some in there that just makes sense stylistically that'll match up really well for them. But statistically, not so good. Collectively, this team has a negative DPR. Timeout. If you have a negative DPR, that means you are losing games. So they need to figure out what's going on there. Back of the pack in PPR. They're in singles rankings. They're extremely poor. If you look at all of their pros that are returning, they're ranked 136th on average. It is the worst in the what conference is this? The
American South.
American South. Thank you. The worst in that American South, and that's heavily carried. That poor rating is heavily carried by Allison Peters Springer at 226, Cameron Holland 214, Laurie Dool 202. So you have 3 players already outside of 200. James Baldwin, now we know he's going to do better in doubles, finished 175, and we can even take Brooks out of the mix. Let's take Brooks out of the mix, who we knew went through his suspension. His ranking was poor. Take him out. They're still 14 out of 16 in pro singles ranking. So they're at the back of the pack. Their one rookie, though, Tommy Sliker, he comes out of the open qualifier, which shows commitment and strength. I think that's good for a rookie pickup, but Trey, C+.
We're on the same page, Anthony. I got C+ as well for the Carolina Coasters. So,
wow.
I didn't like the trade for Frank Modlin the more I thought about it.
This is your team, right?
No, I'm a Woodchucks guy. New England sports fan.
Yeah, I'm a Coasters guy.
You were the Coasters guy.
I'm the Coasters guy. Yeah.
I didn't like the trade for Modlin. I liked the trade for Laurie Dool. I thought Sliker might have been available in the next round, to be honest with you. To me, it felt like, yes, he's a great player, but I think they wanted to say, I want this guy, so I'm going to take him early to make sure nobody else gets him. I thought it was a little bit of a reach there. And I think this is the most volatile team as far as highest of highs, lowest of lows. Trevor Brooks, technically still on probation from a suspension. We got to take that into consideration. Eric Davis, shootout champion, 2023, not great. Berkeley Pear, been up here, been down here. Chad Hunt started this year up here, ended down here. Even Frank Modlin, we've seen him win opens. We've seen him win shootouts. We've seen him play terribly. Ben Brown, okay, wins an open bracket at the beginning of last year, has to play in the pro qualifier by the end of the year. James Baldwin, world champion, has his worst year of his career this past year. To me, I just see way too much volatility, and for that reason, I give him a C+. Bernie.
This to me looks like, by the way, speaking of Ben Brown, I mean, Ben Brown's a couple of bags from not qualifying. I mean, it came down to
one. He's
one. I mean, but I like the way he fought. I mean, I think it showed something. I mean, those bags had an enormous amount of pressure, and he was throwing great under that kind of pressure. But this looks like a team to me that if it makes the playoffs, that's all they're doing. And I'm a Coasters fan. I mean, I'm a diehard Coasters fan. I don't see this team having the ability to win when it comes down to championship level. So, I mean, I can't disagree with your grades on them. I mean, I want more. I mean, the top end's great. And I think you're talking about some names. Anthony, like you said, there's some legendary names in there. I just don't – if I take my emotion out of it, I don't see this team being able to get past first round of playoffs.
Even Bernie's hard on them. Let's go over to the Georgia Sliders. Captained by Noah Wooten. They bring back Cameron Belvin, Ryan Smith, Bobby Hunt, Terry Mathis, and Duncan Clemmer. They trade and acquire Ryan Wiedenfeld and Josh Holland. They round things out with Trey Hunt, Tice Cobb, Cody Johnson, Gabe Dolan, Andy Noyes, Jerry Lockwood, and Katie Matthews. Anthony, grade for the Sliders.
C-. Dead last in PPR and DPR. Dead last in rounds played. They're not playing as much collectively as a team. You look at the entire roster. The entire roster is returning pros, but only 9 of them came out of the auto qual. That is the worst percent out of all the teams, which means a lot of their pros are getting in via weaker qualification methods, application, women-only quals, conferences. So collectively, as a pro squad, pretty weak on the qualification methods. Their best singles finisher from last season, Terry Mathis at 27. Remember, there are other teams that have 2 players there's teams out there that have 2 players in the top 10, multiple teams that have 2 players in the top 20. They have 1 player who's inside 30 at 27. And then they only have 1 player inside 50, which was Mathis. Now you've got Ryan Smith, Ryan Wiedenfeld, who are trending up. They finished 60 and 80th, and I think they bring a lot to doubles. I think they're going to bring more to doubles than singles. I think these boys are going to have to carry the team, along with Wooten stepping up his game and Clemmer stepping up his game to help carry this team. C-.
We have our biggest discrepancy yet.
What?
I go B+, Georgia Sliders. Huge. Huge gap difference. And I am doing something that you are not doing. I am banking on the results in singles of last season for a number of these players was wrong. Okay, in regards to where we end up. I say Noah Wooten is not the 100 and whatever ranked player. I'm saying Ryan Wiedenfeld is not the 90th ranked player. I'm saying Josh Holland is not the 70th ranked player. I'm saying Duncan Clemmer is better than where he finished. I'm saying Ryan Smith is better than where he finished. add it all up collectively, I think the trades really helped this team. They added depth. And I think here's what I love. You have 4 natural chemistry partnerships. You have Duncan Clemmer and Josh Holland, who are playing this season together. Noah Wooten and Cameron Belvin, if they want to play together, they have obviously a ton of chemistry there. Then I have Ryan Smith and Ryan Wiedenfeld. They're natural partners. And then I'd even argue, you have Bobby Hunt and Trey Hunt who could play together, or even Trey Hunt and Tice Cobb who are very close. I like them better. What do you think, Bernie?
I'm a little bit more towards Trey on this one. I think sometimes I think we can get caught up in the numbers. I don't think last season was representative of about 4 or 5 of these players. Josh Holland is better than that. Plain and simple. Josh Holland is simply better. I thought that trade was pretty big to get Josh Holland. Now, I think you need a focused Josh Holland. I think if I'm the captain, if I'm Noah Wooten, I need to make sure that he's focused and wants to play. There's still some times when I watch players play in teams like, oh, well, whatever. Right? What? No big deal. Whatever. I think you need players like Josh Holland to step up. I B plus, maybe not that high, but I think B would be a quality grade for that draft. I'm with Trey on this one. I think they're better than the sum of their parts, and I think who they were last year, some of these players are just Noah Wooten's better than where he finished, plain and simple. And he has to. He knows it. He's fully aware he has to play better, and I think he will.
On to our last and final team, the Florida Freeze, captained by Alex Rawls. They bring back Cheyenne Bubenheim, Chris Kingsbury, Jeremy Frazier, and Blaine Rozier. They trade to acquire the pick of Matthew Sorrells. They trade to acquire Alan Rawls. They also get Blake Karnick, Andrew Labrador, Dave Sutton, PJ Knott, Nate Long, Curtis Haddix, and Wendy Selmeyer. Anthony, thoughts on the Freeze?
This team is stupid. Absolutely stacked. This team is the definition of tough. You're going to have 13 returning pros, 1 rookie. Those including Alex Rawls and Alan Rawls. So here gives you a team with 2 top 10 players on it. They have the highest pro singles rankings collectively out of all the pros in the American South, with other top 50 finishers like Cheyenne Bubenheim, Chris Kingsbury, Blaine Rozier, Jeremy Frazier, a ton of top 50 finishers on one team. And we know Kingsbury, Rozier, and Frazier are all trending up, so they're only going to be better, I think, by the time the season starts. 10 out of the 14 players qualified on their own via auto qualifiers. They didn't need, opens or pro qualifiers or conferences or women's only quals. Didn't need them. This tells me that they have a really strong pro presence. And then we have one who's a returning pro. He was not in those stats yet because he's not coming off of last season. Matthew Sorrells, who's an auto qual talent, in my opinion, and he came through the pro qualifier gauntlet, which is the toughest qualification method, I think, along with PJ Knott is the other rookie who came through the pro qualifier. Overall, a ton of strength on this one. A+. I got to give this one the best score.
You go A+, I go A. They have the best returning roster. I think they lost a little bit of value. I think they're a little bit high on Matthew Sorrells. They traded away Ryan Hart for Matthew Sorrells in reality, right?
I'm good
they
with
traded
that.
Their first round pick. To me, Ryan Hart shows a little bit more consistency that I like to see there. I haven't seen Sorrells play at that high level in a couple of years. Karnick in like the 3rd round. Are you kidding me? The guy has been so consistent. They steal him. And then they get Curtis Haddix, who made it all the way to a bracket final. They're like the second to last pick in the draft. Like this team only has 14 on the roster. They're gonna have to pick up some elite players. And you tell me I get to dip into the elite pool in Florida?
Oh yeah.
This team is illegal. Illegal.
Good call.
Bernie, thoughts?
There's really not much I can add to that. You guys are right. I thought they were a great team that maybe underachieved a little bit last season, if you can believe that. And here they are again. Are they the favorites? Would you agree with that? Is this team the favorite going in, or at least one of the 2 or 3 top teams going into this season?
That leads us great into buy or sell. Number 1, Bernie, I'll start with you. We'll start with number 3. The Florida Freeze have the best roster.
It's arguable. I'm going to buy it. I'm with it. I'll take it. I'll buy the Freeze. It's the best roster.
Look at that. You like that transition there, Bernie? You like that?
I do. That's a great segue. Way to make that segue work. Yeah.
Anthony, the Florida Freeze have the best roster. Buy or sell?
I'm gonna buy.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy as well. I think they're far and away. I give them an A. You give them an A plus. Unless you're giving somebody else an A plus, you got to agree with me. Now we're kind of touching on some things we also talked about already, Bernie. Going back, number one, Ryan Trader has surpassed Alex Hicks as the young king of the Midwest.
Wow. Can I, man?
No. Buy or sell?
Can I phone a friend? Let's see. It's so early. I think he's that dude, though. But it's so early. I'm going to have to sell, but I've got him on the phone to buy.
Anthony.
How does that play? Does that work? I mean, I still think Alex has the experience. I still think he's going to have something to say about all of that. Ryan is that dude, though. I'm going to sell, but he's on the phone to buy.
Anthony.
Selling. Too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Right? Hicks was the 16th best player on the planet 2 years ago, back-to-back top 25 years, had a blowout double season last year. The dude won like 97 local events in a row. I mean, as soon as Trader can do that, then maybe. But, hey, Trader's a heck of a player. I'm not going to take that away from him, but I'm still giving that to Alex Hicks right now. So,
Alan Rawls is a top 5 player in the world, Anthony.
Buying it. I am not sleeping on Alan Rawls anymore. I'm buying it. And I like it, and I'm good with it.
Bernie.
Top 5? I'm going to sell. Top 5? I mean, it's crazy what the man continues to do, but top 5 at the end of the year, I've got to sell it.
He went through the MVP in the last
I know. It's just over.
Florida Conference.
I know. I mean, are you asking right this second or for the season?
Right this second.
Yes. I'll buy it. If it's right this second, absolutely.
All right. Last one. Let one know. 2 more real quick. A Midwest player defends their home turf in Iowa. Anthony.
Who do we got? Is that Wiedenfield, Trader, Hicks?
Yeah, those are the big ones that you're looking for, pretty much.
I got to sell. I mean, look, we got JBJ, Neested, Hunter Thorne, Trey Birchfield, Ryan Windsor, Matthew Creekiller, Matt Guy, Jordan Power, Logan Chamberlain, just to name a few. Sell.
Bernie.
I'm going to sell as well, but is Iowa close enough to give Great Lakes some love there? I mean, isn't that right? You're on the border with Great Lakes.
Close.
Right?
You're close.
However, what's up with the injuries? Hunter Thorne got a broken ankle. There's like 4 or 5 other players walking around with casts on their arm. I mean, what's been happening? What is going on? But I'm gonna sell that as well.
All right, last one. Michelle listens to our podcast this week in Cabo.
No way. Sell. She's sucking down margaritas.
Wow, I don't know, man. I think she's going to find a way to listen. I'm buying it. I think she's going to find a way.
I think so. I'm going to.
They're both cornhole heads, man. They're going to find a way to listen to this show. And
all right, hot takes. On to hot takes. Anthony, hot take for the week.
No team. I'm going to go to the teams event. No team won 60 games last season. I think the highest was 58-59. My hot take, Florida Freeze wins 70 games next season.
Woo!
70 of 105. That's like a 66% winning percentage. I think they got it.
Bernie.
It's a terrible hot take, but I think Logan Chamberlain and Justin Burton Jr. win back-to-back opens.
Hey, look, any calling a winner, it's hot. I'm going to stay also open. I'm going to go winner. There's a new king of the Midwest, Ryan Trader.
Oh, there it is.
Wins
it down.
Wow.
Puts the crown on his head.
Wow, that is a hot take.
Champion.
That's scalding.
There's my hot take. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, this has been Trey Ryder, Anthony Ione, and Bernie Neighbor saying so long and around the ACL.